And this,
Yeah, we have.
the stream has started.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. We're back at the Mountain Community Capital Fund, and we have a quorum, and we can have a real meeting today. So let's call this meeting to order. Rachel, you want to go through the minutes?
Yes, so we'll get started with the approval of the minutes. So if you can believe it, the last time we met was April for a special meeting to review some claims. So did everyone have a chance to review the draft minutes? Great. So at this point, Carl, we can take a vote on it. So we'll just need a motion to approve and then a second and then a vote.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second that. It's D. Williams.
Alrighty, so then we'll just need a vote. So this would be all in favor.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? All right. The minutes pass. And I'm just taking the minutes. Okay, great. So then we can move on into some updates. And I'm happy to kind of go through this. We've got a little bit of housekeeping to do. So we've got some roles and membership changes. Carl, if you're okay with it, I'm going to go through the upcoming membership changes first, and then we can do voting on the roles. That works? Okay. So basically what we have here, so Frank McGowan is renewing his membership. So thank you for continuing to serve on this board, Frank. Nikki Reed will be rolling off later this month. She is out of the office on some much deserved vacation right now. So I will be taking her place as a member. Charlie will be the staff liaison for us. And so that will occur a little bit later in October. D, your membership is good to go. You'll be on until May of 2027. So if you so choose.
She celebrated that.
But
We need
don't
you,
be too
D.
excited.
We need you.
Yeah. Talk to me if you have questions, comments, concerns. Tim will be rolling off, and Evie will be taking his seat. So we'll talk about timing for that. Mason should be good to go until April of 27. And then Buncombe County will need to appoint another community seat. Hunter rolled off, and so we need to fill that one. John, you are good to go until June of 27. Carl, same time frame for you. So for all of the voting members, we are soon to be set. We've got a plan. We just have kind of one seat that is at large that needs to be filled. And then for non-voting members, those don't have as strict of timeline requirements, but we'll just need to officially select someone from Mountain BizWorks. So Christopher, if you and the Mountain BizWorks team want to huddle on that and then come back to us and just let us know who will be the official non-voting member from y'all's team, that'd be great.
And Rachel, do we have a candidate for Buncombe County?
I don't believe so at this point.
Not yet. I'm in touch with our clerk about posting that again. I'll share with you all once we have that live, and would welcome you to share with your networks in case you have any folks that you know who might be interested in participating. But we're still working on getting it live. And then I also really quick wanted to take a moment. As Rachel mentioned, Tim will be rolling off likely towards the end of the year, and I will be working towards, with our clerk, also taking on the staff member role. So I wanted to briefly introduce, sorry, Daisha, I didn't tell you I was going to do this. We have an intern through NC Lead, recent graduate of UNCA, Daisha Cheney. She's interning for the county manager's office this year, and she'll be helping to staff this committee while she's with the county. So thank you, Daisha.
Yeah,
And
thank you,
there she
Daisha.
is.
Hi,
Great.
good to be here.
Welcome.
So we will also have some additional staff support this year while Dacia's with us.
Nice.
Just a few more updates. So, the city has been working on our boards and commissions, and if you hadn't seen, the city council approved the establishment of 4 recovery boards. And so economy is sort of the one I'm tuned into the most. That doesn't have a whole lot of bearing on MCCF. We may occasionally present an update and kind of inform that board of who we are and what we do. But the advisory boards, I think Urban Forestry Commission and others, those are kind of funneling into those recovery boards. So we are very in the weeds, but we are a technical and administrative board. So if you've sort of seen a lot of things about the changes and everything like that, it's good to be aware of. But if you have any specific questions about those changes, please just reach out to me or Charlie. By and large, those don't apply to MCCF. So if you got a rules document and a request to sign that document, if you signed it, that's fine. If you had a lot of questions and wondered if this applied to you and MCCF, it does not. That was a bit of an error on our clerk's office. We just sent it out, and when I looked at the rules, those do not apply to MCCF. So there may be elements that we can look at that are good to have as best practice, but a lot of the residency requirements and things like that just aren't applicable to this board. So just wanted to kind of share that situational awareness with you all, and then happy to chat about the other boards offline or in another meeting. So with that, we have a bit more housekeeping to do. We have, with Tim's kind of upcoming rolling off of the committee, got an opportunity to confirm 3 roles. So first is chair, vice chair, and secretary. And so, Carl, I don't know if we should start with chair. We'll need a nomination and then a motion second and then a vote for each one.
Well, my understanding was that Tim was maintaining his position in chair till the end of the year,
Oh, okay.
is what I was told.
Okay, great. Sorry, that's my error. So then we'll just vote on reconfirming vice chair and secretary for now. So,
I'd like to make a motion or nominate Carl Aguilar to be our vice chair again, if he's willing.
great. We've got a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second
I'll
that.
second.
Okay, great. And all in favor? Okay, any opposed? Great. All right, motion passes. Thank you, Carl. And then for secretary, do we have a nomination and then a motion?
I nominate Rachel Taylor.
I guess we're gonna do rule of cool. I'm not officially a member, but if that works for the committee, then that is fine with me.
I second that.
Okay. Great. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, well, let me start my duties and record these action minutes.
It's the only positive votes we'll get this week, Rachel, so it's all good.
We'll take them. All right, well, thanks, y'all. I'm gonna write these notes down, and then we'll hand it, unless there's any more discussion on rules and memberships, we'll hand it over to Christopher up next. Any last questions, concerns?
I
for rules
guess
and
my only
membership?
question is, do we vote for chair, vice chair and all that when Tim rolls off in December or November or whenever it is this last meeting day? Is that what we'll do?
Yes,
Yep.
we will.
Mhm. Great. All right, well, Christopher, you want to get us started with reviewing the report, and then we can work our way into new business?
Yeah. Do I need to share my screen or do you share the screen? How are we doing this?
I am happy to share my screen if you give me 1 second.
And Christopher, before you dive in, maybe a quick update on how Mountain BizWorks is settling a year later.
Well, I mean, we're all in this together, right? So I can't, um, uh, you I guess inform you too much on what y'all already know and sense of what's going on in our communities. But yeah, I mean, we're, a year later, we're still kicking, I guess you could say. I mean, it's been an intense year, but not quite as intense as it was this time last year, needless to say. I think y'all probably have seen several of the public reports that we've presented, and kind of some of our findings. But as I, kind of reflect a little bit, I think we're still kind of a little waiting to see kind of how people are going to emerge from this fall season. But I mean, people are struggling. I mean, I think we're seeing consistently people's businesses down 25 to 40%. And yeah, I mean, it's, people are supportive of each other, but we'll see. I don't know if that's a kind of a rambling answer to your question, Carl, but Mountain BizWorks is doing well. I mean, our team is resilient. Matt Raker has been a good leader for several years. This is his second major event to lead us through. So, he has experience doing that. And so, but we're doing well. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, good job. Thank you. Can everybody see the screen there?
I can make it a little larger if that's helpful.
That would be great. Great. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I will. Again, Kelly Foster is on vacation this week. So, of course, it's been almost 9 months since we maybe last met. So I guess I'll just kind of just go through this, assuming, it's not as fresh as usual. There are no new loans that were closed this month, obviously. Over the life of the fund, there've been 77 loans, of which 3 million plus has been lent. You can see the total new dollars lent there is of the 3 million at 2.68. And then you see the total guaranteed used as a percentage of as the amount of the origination. There are currently 48 loans that are outstanding, which with a balance of 1.6 million. Again, and then there's the guarantee amount reflected at 1.36 million. And then of course there's reflecting there what's the capacity, the max capacity of the fund. So percentage of guaranteed funds utilized, again, 51.15%. Right now, there are 3 loans that are delinquent over 30 days, totaling 64,000. All of those are Black or African American relationships. If you want to keep scrolling down there, Rachel, you can see that represents 4% of the total fund. And then you can see the guaranteed amount of 54,858 that's allocated toward that 64,000. And then you can see kind of how they're categorized in the 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and one that's over 90 days. Charge-offs this month, which I guess we're going to be talking about those here in a minute. You can see the total amounts there, and then the total charge-offs to date, which includes the 19 includes the 5 that are being brought to you, which then does take us over the 5% credit loss. And my understanding is that when this fund was set up, that it was not to exceed 5%. So according to this, it does go above the 5%. There was one loan paid off this month, and then you can kind of see the total loans paid off to date. And and then again, the percentage as a total of the fund at 8%. The guaranteed claims to date, 12. Again, that doesn't, there were a couple that had more than one loan, so that's relationship claims. So, and then the guaranteed claims that you all have approved to date is 295,000. And then you can see the, in terms of the ones that are being brought today, 5 are Black or African American, and 1 is classified as other. I'm not quite claim demographic. I'm not sure actually that's relevant to today actually. So correct that. I'm sorry, that's not correct. In terms of the demographics, there are 44 of the loans are to Black-owned businesses. And again, percentage to Black-owned business over the life of the fund is 57%. 15 loans to Latino or Hispanic. Again, that's 19% over the life of the fund. Women-owned businesses are 38, which is just under 50%. 19 loans have been, true startups at origination, which translates to 25% over the life of the fund, and then 3/4 have been to existing businesses. And again, you can see the jobs created. So I know that's rather kind of just reading what's on the screen, but I guess, Rachel, I don't know if there may be some questions that people have after that.
Well, one thing I can speak to is, yes, we have exceeded the cap at the 5% for charge-offs. However, in reading the operating agreement, this is a suggested cap. It is not a hard stop. And that as a group, we need to discuss and consider how do we work our way out of that. Additional funds, additional loans is certainly an opportunity to do that. I think given the current economic reality and what we've been through as a community, to be able to support businesses at the most difficult time, I think is our calling here. And I think there's a lot of discussion that we can have around the reality of what do we do about that. So, Dee?
Thank you. I agree with Carl. Sometimes you have to adapt to whatever circumstances have handed you. But one of the other things I want to talk about is more making this operating agreement more substantive and less performative. By that, I mean, the technical assistance piece is bothering me some, and the drift of data towards the operating committee is not really coming in the manner that we could be, that we could intervene and provide input. And also just having enough information at our disposal in a timely manner. In other words, I don't want to just be assembled to agree to write these off for the guarantee. When a 60-day alarm goes off, either you create a dashboard or we need to know. And before write-off, I'd like to also ask if there could be some measure made in the operating agreement to where a subcommittee would review before write-off. So I want to be much more helpful to these businesses. We have some tremendous challenges before us. And if we just stop lending and don't adapt our practice to who we're trying to help, then we have indeed created harm. So that would be my input. But I think we still need to be an activist lender to these groups, and we need to mitigate risk. We need to evaluate risk all along the way based on NAICS code, based on saturation of market, all of that. But that's all I have to say is I'm in favor of providing funds to these businesses, but we have to be able to mitigate risk, and we have to have an early warning system, and it needs to be conveyed to committee. Thanks.
Thank you, Dee. Go ahead, John.
Thanks, Carl. So firstly, I want to echo Dee's comments. I agree wholeheartedly with what she just said. 2 points. One, I didn't think Manning BizWorks this program was open. I thought they stopped lending money. So can you confirm that for me? And the second point, I realize, Christopher, this is not your spreadsheet and you're just reading someone else's spreadsheet, which I know is always challenging, but Rachel, can you just scroll up to the number of loans? And so my challenge here is always, so there's 77 loans, there's 48 that are, in existence today. So there's 29, something happened to 29 of them. And I see pieces of the 29 in the spreadsheet, but it'd be so much easier if there was 77, and then there was this number went here, this number went here, this number went here. We end up with 48 left, of which we can look at the other spreadsheet to figure it out. Right now, I have a really hard time figuring out what's happened to the 29 loans that we've approved and something's gone on. Some have been repaid, some we've had to write off, some have been restructured or merged. I can't follow what's happened to these loans. It's like a mystery. So I just need some greater clarity in what's going on. And maybe the spreadsheet needs to get reworked a little bit. I'm happy to help whoever's doing the spreadsheet, but I can't follow the data very well. I never have been able to follow the data very well.
Thank you, John.
I'm sorry to interject again, but is there such a thing that we can put together like a portfolio aging report of all of these loans as they have been made and what their status is, whatever date we're in, if they've been written off, if they're current, or is that too much? I'm just asking because most institutions look at their portfolios and they assage them by how accurate they are, the information that is there, and what quality they are. So I'm just going to cease right now.
Thank you,
Well,
Dee.
I know the next tab has got quite a bit of detail in it, I believe, with MCCF loans that gets into, more in terms of status around that. John, I hear your question as to but I'll get with Kelly. It won't be that I'm the person that's, joining her every month. So, given that and my role as the chief credit officer, certainly can address that, John, and try to simplify that piece. There was another question, I think, there that I don't want to circumvent if I'm missing a response.
Well,
John?
this is a very good point. I'm sorry, did somebody have their hand raised?
Oh, sorry, Carl, I was just going to say John's second question about active use of the fund. I don't know.
Oh, yes. We have
Where-
not done any lending with the MCCF funds.
Just a really quick recap of, so we had that special meeting in April specifically about the charge-offs. But prior to that, September of last year, when we reached that first trigger point, and our Mountain BizWorks voluntarily put a hold on using the loan guarantee fund. And we paused at this exact moment that we're talking about again. What are the next steps for the fund? How do we get better insight into data? But then to Carl's earlier questions about do we seek additional funding to bring in as one of the ways to get us back on track with our goals with the fund? And then also, how do we start loaning again using this opportunity? And I think Carl also raised a great point about there's need in the community for additional resources for businesses at this time post-Helene. And so I think we're kind of restarting, not in April at our last meeting, but in September, where as it stands, Mountain BizWorks is not using the loan guarantee, and we need to discuss how the fund moves forward. So just wanted to provide that context about our last non-Helene meeting in September.
Thank you.
And
Rachel?
John, if you want to hop in first, go ahead.
Well, so I'm sorry. I should raise the hand thing. I think we, at that meeting, didn't we also agree that this committee would be involved in approving all loans going forward and not just like over a certain threshold? Wasn't that also agreed?
Yes,
Correct.
yes,
Yes.
that is still true. Go ahead, Rachel.
I just wanted to add a bit of kind of context for folks if you've got questions or if anyone is watching online. So in the landscape of kind of recovery funding, I know a lot of the federal funds and recovery funds have to have a clear connection to the disaster. So there is still a strong need for either existing or kind of growing businesses that didn't have a direct impact from the storm, and for new businesses getting started. So having this fund in the mix is still a really important part of growing our ecosystem and our business landscape to kind of keep that environment stable. So just wanted to put that in context because there has been a lot of recovery funds out and more coming. And so in case anyone had some questions about how they interact or don't, wanted to add that in there.
Thank you, Rachel. I also want to say, there's been some discussion about this committee over time has really grown in its need for more information. And what's really been an anchor around our neck is the public nature of this meeting. And by being public, we are then immediately bound to less information. And there has been some exploration as to how we might gain more insight into this data by either meeting in person or structurally rearranging this meeting from public to private, which would give us a tremendous opportunity for more transparency. So there's definitely consideration for that. And we can talk about that some more. I would be very much in favor of that. The other point that I think, John, you raised, which is a very good one, we've always sort of held Mountain BizWorks accountable to reporting that works for us, and yet we haven't had any input on that. And I think Kelly does a great job. I think she's trying to give us everything that we need, and she has been evolving this thing for quite some time. I would love it if, John, if you were willing to get with Kelly to see how we might make her life easier by, structuring a report that really meets the needs of this committee. And I think this is something we spend considerable time on every month. And I think we could clean it up and set it aside if we were. Christopher, if you think Kelly'd be open to that, I think Kelly'd be open to it. I think she really wants to do the best job possible. And that might move us along. Any thoughts on that from anybody?
I'm happy to spend time on it if Kelly's got the opportunity to do it.
Christopher, would you convey that message?
Yeah, I'll run it through to Matt and get him to, he would, I don't, it sounds like to me to get the number to add up to 77, that seems like fairly low hanging fruit there, to John's point. So some of this I think should be addressable to the extent that it's not clear. So
yeah, and to Dee's point, some of the aging dashboard, we do get 30, 60, 90 data, but I think the questions have been around what actions are being taken around those loans that are going delinquent. And also, which I think Kelly has addressed multiple times with us, but I think it's not specific to the loan, which goes again to our structure. And so if we could get a little more transparency, I think everybody would feel more comfortable. So,
Carl,
Mason,
I'm sorry. Well,
go ahead, John.
That. So what is critical for me is the 77 to the 48 and where those loans are. But then I want to be able to tie that information to the second spreadsheet in an easy to understand way. So get the classification. There's a column there that says write off, overdue or terminated or whatever. And one of the late payment status or something like that. so one of those columns, either that column, and just tie it to the same language so that when I look at the 77, use whatever language you want in column, is that H? What is that, H? So that as a user, I could say, okay, there's 7 of these, whatever the title is, repaid or whatever it says, and then I can click on that sheet and they're by that column. Right now, I think they're by loan number. And so it's really hard to, because it's all read only, so I can't manipulate the spreadsheet. So it's like really challenging for me just to follow the data through from one to the other.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Mason.
I agree with what's being said. I think we as a group need to understand and be more comfortable with the data. I do, from that point though, want to make sure that we are using information appropriately. I want to say not being careful, but being full of care in our role in this situation. I think we are the guarantee operating committee, right? So we support the governance and the guarantee, and we are effectively setting performance requirement for what are contracted suppliers of lending services. We are not the lending operators. So in my mind, our opportunity is to make sure that the expectations are clear around what we require of lenders to incentivize us to approve the guarantee, and what our expectations are of their performance as lenders in support of businesses that would either validate or not our approval of future claims. But I do want to make sure that we're careful to not try to participate in too much in daily operations. I think our opportunities are at the front in the structure of the relationship, and then coming back to kind of our existing claim review process. And it feels like we're not necessarily satisfied with the current checklist we're working against. And so it feels like we need to improve that review structure, but not necessarily, I'm not sure that I feel that we need to embed ourselves in the operational structure of the lenders more.
Thank you, Mason. Dee?
I
Go ahead.
agree, excuse me, I agree with what has been said. I think the issue that I have is one of, I guess, performance metrics in terms of and timing. When we get these loans, they're usually, are the write-offs, we're the guarantee committee, of course we are, but just want to make sure, since we're dealing with very fragile businesses anyway, that they're being provided the type of technical assistance, intervention, and consideration that they need, such as being seasonal businesses, that kind of thing. You know, on the front end, I'm not trying to involve myself in operations, but certainly we want to mitigate risk if we can. And I'd like, if we are able to do so, don't want to add a whole lot of bureaucracy to this thing, but I think that maybe our operating agreement needs to be amended or modified to include that we do have a subcommittee that looks over these loans that are in default before they're written off. And I don't want to add a lot of, as I say, bureaucracy to it, but I think it's duly warranted based on this record. There's something that's going on here that we may have an opportunity to intervene in a quality manner. Thanks.
Thank you, Dee. And I believe that is within our purview in terms of the operating agreement. Rachel?
Yeah, so I definitely want to make sure we've got time for discussion, especially around the claims. So we do have an opportunity to discuss the meeting cadence and structure after we've discussed the claims. So we can explore the creation of a subcommittee. Just want to offer a word of caution because we just had staff training this week. Subcommittees still have to follow all of the public meeting rules that the full committee has to follow. So just more information for you all to consider.
Thank you. And that's a good point. We can circle back. Christopher, you want to continue?
Are we ready to move to the claim, Rachel? Is that what you were kind of transitioning to?
Yeah, I think if everyone we can continue to talk about the spreadsheet if there are more questions. I just wanted to make that note around the meetings and the subcommittees there. If y'all are
I-
ready to move on to the
I'm
review. of the
sorry, Rachel. I do
plans.
have a question on the other tab of the spreadsheet. Sorry, I was waiting until you got there.
Great.
So best I can count, it says there's 7 claims pending in that column D. That doesn't include the 3 that are, looks like they're delinquent. And the 7 includes the 4 we're looking at today. So I'm confused about why we're looking at 4, not 7. So I guess that's why my question is, why aren't we looking at the 7 if there's a claims pending, unless I can't count? Because again, I can't manipulate the spreadsheet. So it's like,
You've got, I don't know in terms of, I'd have to go look at the loan numbers on, to see the ones that are beyond the 4 that we're considering today, to see why they say claim pending. If you give me a moment, I can search in my system and just double check those and see what they are, but I don't know them off the top of my head, but just looking at the number.
well, to Rachel's point, I mean, I'm happy to talk about the 4 that are here and you can get back to us. It's just, this is what was my frustration with the data. It's like, I can never make it tie out to what we're doing.
Right.
And it may be just some amount of typo, because here it looks like I didn't sort it very well, forgive my tech skills, but looks like the termination date might have come due, so perhaps they are already resolved.
Let me just search one of them real quick, John, just to, that's not one of the numbers that we have today. I'm just out of, you've got me curious. Sure I put that number in correctly. Yeah, I think that's one of them. I think we already you already approved the. I'm not sure on that. I mean, it's certainly a loan that we have charged off, but I don't know if it's one that she's presented to you or not. So, so I don't know the answer to that, John, to be honest with you. And in fact, Carl did ask me to double check the sheet. I did not notice that there were this particular thing that you're pointing out. So of those 3, I don't know if y'all have actually approved the guarantee on them or not, but the one that I just put in is one that that I have charged off.
So I guess we have to chase that down at some point, but then, it begs the obvious question to me is like, is the tab on the first spreadsheet accurate based on the categorization of this sheet, or are the numbers not right, so therefore we're breaching some of these thresholds?
I think those 3 that are pending are the 3 that you just saw on the front sheet that are in the past due columns. Perhaps, but again, I'm in, since I'm looking at a public sheet with numbers, I can't, on the spot tell you definitively if that's the case. So I apologize for that, John. I wish I had the ability to tell you exactly how those 3 numbers coordinate to this front page.
All right. We can review that data. You want to continue, Christopher? Rachel, you want to go back to the main sheet?
Yeah, I don't have anything more to comment here.
I think we had gotten through the first page of this sheet. And so if folks had more questions, then we could stay here. If they don't have more questions about the spreadsheet, then we can move on to the claims.
Dee?
I guess I do. These are 4 loans that we're here today to approve or not approve the guarantee. This essentially is 3 businesses, one with 2 loans. Is that my understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, can we move to the claims for review?
An easy question before we step away.
Mason?
And I think we're going to get there as we clean up the data, but just my understanding of the 0 number for loans currently in the startup phase. There were 19 originally. So understanding that correctly, all of the startup loans have been paid off through the fund.
No, I think that's a data error.
Okay, so that's what we're saying.
That can't be true.
Thank you.
Okay, claims review. Is that you, Christopher?
Oh, do I need to
Rachel?
share the screen here, Rachel?
I can go through it if you want me to just.
Oh, I can share it. I mean, let me just share it. I think I can. Let's see. Hopefully I can do this correctly for the right. Share my screen away. So it should be, this one should be, oh, hold on, I'm actually, hang on. Okay, can y'all see this adequately?
No.
No?
Pretty small. I don't mind sharing if that's.
All right, well, I'll defer to you because obviously you're probably a little bit more adept at this. Let me stop sharing if I can.
You blow that up. There we go. Much better. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, Christopher, I started with claim 12.
Yep, yep. Again, so you can see the date of the loan, the amount of the loan at 50. This was started in 2023. The charge off or the delinquency is stated here is in April of 2025. The charge off $28,611.33. There's obviously some specifics around the loan in terms of the interest rate and the accrued interest. The total claim is $24,719, which represents 85% of the 28,000. Because we can keep scrolling there. I think this is, I guess, just stating what we went through. I don't think there's any new information there. You keep going, Rachel. Loan was to a Black borrower, a woman. Keep going, and I can speak more to the loan specifically, but I want to get through some of this technical stuff. You can see the NICS code there. There was no lender debt refinanced here, either of our debt or anyone else's debt. It was a retail business. Keep going, Rachel. So we did work. This was a situation where the borrower was really communicative and worked hand in hand with us to liquidate the collateral assets that were there. So very conscientious. Certainly the exception to the rule a lot of times in situations when the business doesn't succeed. You can see the proceeds from the sale of the assets there. So bringing the balance to what we brought to you today. So again, the loan, the use of proceeds was for working capital and inventory. In this case, the borrower did inject a reasonable amount of their own money into the business. Retail businesses are can be a challenge, in regardless of what type. This was a very engaged client with Mountain BizWorks. We had multiple points of contact in terms of technical assistance and coaching that we had in place. But the client, just reached the point that they didn't believe that they could make the business work. Even if we wanted to provide additional money, they would not have been willing to take it. This is a screenshot of, I guess an internal picture, so you can see that what we see when we charge a loan off. I don't know if that's the last screen there, Rachel. So I won't ramble further and open up to any questions that people may have.
No questions. Do we need a motion, Rachel? Oh, Dee raised your hand. Go ahead, Dee. You're on mute.
Yes, I'm sorry. Just wanted to know, when you do these loans, or you do a business plan, is risk something that's imputed into, especially retail, where there are such fluctuations in market and smaller margins?
Yeah.
And was this a business that had a physical retail location, or was it something like?
It did indeed have a physical retail location. And assessing risk is, obviously you would know, Dee, given your experiences. There are multiple factors that come into play there. And this was one where we took a fair amount of time to wrestle with, getting to an approval. Obviously retail is one of the big risk factors is location, in terms of, so there were lots of things that went into trying to assess the feasibility of this, how big a market is it? This business was kind of in the outdoor recreation type space in terms of what their product and service was. So there are lots of things that we assessed, and the person came with really a detailed business plan with a lot of expertise in the space that they were serving. So it wasn't somebody that it was their first business start. So in that sense, they're inexperienced, but they really did their homework, Dee, in terms of doing their best to assess the feasibility of what they were doing. So this is somebody that if they came back, I would assuming that we could get comfortable with it, would we gladly support them again.
John? You're muted. You're muted, John.
You're muted, John.
I muted myself instead of unmuting. I'm assuming, is this 50,000? This is one the committee approved? That committee approved? Is that right? Or am I wrong in that?
I think this was one that y'all did not approve. This was before, I don't know actually, but I'm assuming that maybe this would have been one that you didn't approve until y'all made that change.
I thought 50,000 was our threshold to approve, so that's why I thought we must have approved it.
That's what I assumed as well. If it's 50,000, it should have come before the group.
So my question is not what. So my question is, assuming we approved it, when we have to do these write-offs, is it possible for ones that the committee approved to see the original documentation that we used to approve the loan the first time, in the spirit of trying to get better, to see the information we were given to vote on compared to where we are today, to see if you know, we made a bad decision or whether it was just something happened in the business, to see if we get better at approving these loans when they come to us, or whether there was something that we should have seen in the documents we were presented that meant that we made a bad decision.
That's a good question. I will say, you know, I do a lot of coaching for Mountain BizWorks, and I've had multiple businesses preparing to be loan ready for Mountain BizWorks. And I will say that the information, the rigor that's required to get a loan is no less so for Mountain BizWorks in my experience. I do think that to their charter and their credit, there is more risk often with given this opportunity to get small businesses incubated. And I've been involved with a number of starter schools and startup entities and incubators and things like that. And I think that's its sweet spot and its glory. You know, what Christopher's saying is, I'd back this woman again. And I think those are the kind of things that we have to be open to in terms of the risk nature of this fund, because it's a fine line between hindsight, you know, critical hindsight versus our mission to get as many of these businesses started as we can. And I do think, John, we should revisit the notion of a subcommittee around data reporting and the packaging of that information at the end of this. So do we need a motion for this, Rachel?
Yes, we do. We'll need a motion to approve, second, and then a vote.
Dee?
I'll move to approve. Yeah, I'll move to approve that we write this loan off.
And I'll second that. And I'll also say
Okay.
that my accidental emoji there was,
That's very appropriate. Thank you.
it was certainly appropriate, but it was also an accident.
Oh, sure it was. Yeah. All in favor? Thank you. Moving on.
Any opposed in case I can't see anyone? Okay, good. Thank you. So we've got 13 and 14 together on this one. I think it would be helpful for the records if we voted on them separately, if that's okay with you all.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll preface this by saying this is one that is a casualty of a lien. And again, someone that I've gotten to know well since we did our first loan. And somebody that I would support again. And somebody that we have worked closely with. So on both this one, the first one and this one, I would, been extensive TA interaction, coaching, counseling along the way. So, this charge off here request is 53,267.91. You can see the breakdown there between the two loans. We can come back to any specific questions around those numbers, but let's keep scrolling through here, Rachel. Again, you can see the dates of the two loan. I think this one did come to you because it did go over the amount. So y'all would have reviewed this initially several years ago. This was not a startup. Again, service industry in the kind of the event space. So as you can imagine, a lot of people in that space have been decimated by Helene. You can see the NICS code there. if you keep going. Okay, so she's broken it off by each. I know maybe she's got the two. I'm not going to speak to the loans necessarily differently because the reasons would be the same. Again, they're not assets to go liquidate of note here. Again, this was a working capital loan. Again, litigation is not a feasible path. Again, there's been a lot of technical assistance and coaching. In fact, this person's skill is such that she could actually be a coach for us in providing. And in fact, she reached out and, was like, can I apply, can I provide technical assistance as a way to, pay my loan, or something like that. So just very, just again, didn't avoid the issue. So again, there's a screenshot of our internal loan information. And you can see the charged off amount there. So I'll open it up to any questions.
Any questions?
And then I guess speaking to that, John, I think speaking to what you had asked earlier, what y'all had, I guess maybe at the time of the approval, maybe that's what it was right there.
It was.
That
I guess,
it looks
yeah.
accurate, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead, Dee.
I was looking at the fact that it was broken out into two parts, one for 50 because the amount for this particular loan can go over, and then an additional 25,000. Is that something that we wouldn't have seen because it was broken out in two smaller amounts that not exceed?
No, it had to come to you for approval. So there wasn't there would no way for us to circumvent you for that 25,000 by breaking it up.
And is this the inaugural year of MCCF? It looks like it.
I think
I
we actually did some, maybe 2020, I think actually.
Okay, because I was just looking at it, and I'll hold my comments for that particular time period. But what kind of business was this? Was this
Service.
a service as in what? Food, retail? What?
I would put it in trying to be circumspect in how it's in the event space, large event space.
Event space. What is that?
Like a wedding venue or a.
Oh, like an event planner. Is that what that
Yeah,
is?
something along those lines. Yes.
Thanks. Oh, God.
So EB is posting. You want to speak to this, EB? So loans of 50,000 must come before us.
Sorry, I just wanted to, I was having recollections. We've had this exact question come up before. So the language from the original underwriting guidelines was that all loans over 50,000 will require the review of the operating committee. So loans of exactly 50,000 previously did not come to the committee. It would have needed to be 50,001 or greater. But I just want to also clarify again that this was before the committee voted to have all loans come before us. And simultaneously, Mountain BizWorks volunteered to pause while we figured out next steps for the committee. Just wanted to clarify, particularly because it sounded like there's some formulation of the need for next steps to look at these loans if they were approved and lessons learned. Based off of the language and my recollection, but I think it's something that Mountain BizWorks folks who have been participating with us might want to weigh in on if we have further discussion. So I'm thinking Kelly and Matt, but just wanted to clarify, let's pause on thinking about next steps for reviewing those loans until we maybe have the fuller group back together.
Thank you.
I'm going to finish putting my thought in case someone missed a part of what I just shared.
Thank you. Rachel, you want to vote on these in two pieces?
Yes, that would be helpful. So if we start with the first one. That's claim 13. With the total claim for that one is 34,647. And that number is ending in 201. So if we can get a motion and a second for that one.
I so move.
Okay, and a second.
1 second.
Also,
Okay, thank you, John.
John can have it.
And then you've gotten a few today, Frank, so your score is high. And then can we get a vote?
All in favor?
Thank you. Okay. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And then let's do the same thing for claim 14. This is just over 18,000, and this is loan number ending in 301.
I so move.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn.
1 second.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. And all in favor? Okay, any opposed? Great, thank you. And we'll give me 2 seconds. All right, so now we can move on to, okay. And 15. This is our last one to review for today.
Yeah, so this was a loan dating from 2023. It started to struggle in 2024. You can see the outstanding balance and then the request to this committee of $21,051.12. The scrolling on again, that's again just restating the information that I just referenced. There was a refinance of some money here that was not Mountain BizWorks money, but there again, so that's what that represents. Woman-owned business. You can see the charge-off date and then the NICS code.
What's the next code mean? That's the industry.
The kind of the category, the genre
Right.
of business.
Oh, it's
so
the
to
service.
speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, so this is one where again another casualty of a lien. The would not be someone that I would lend to again. They were not communicative at all. But my understanding is there may have been some health issues involved. I can't confirm that because we weren't able to communicate. Again, no assets. So to get here, again, their business was tied heavily to tourism and toward overnight lodging. So in terms of those sectors being impacted, along with the health issues that I can't confirm, pretty much led to this not working. Again, what follows are some screenshots of our internal system and confirming the charge off. Rachel, back to you. Or Dee's got a question.
Yes, thank you. I see this business was not a startup. Is that true? Was it a startup? Was it a startup?
Let's see. It's not a startup, no.
Okay, it indicated that there were 5 jobs created. Did that come directly off of 941 for verification proof? When she said she had 5 jobs, those were W-2 employees or were they contractors? What were those jobs created?
I'm going to get, I doubt they're off the 941 in terms of that. I mean, they may be, but I can't confirm that because I don't recall looking at a 941 in this case, D. It would be something of her disclosure. And In this case, I don't know if that's FTE, full-time equivalents, or part-time jobs, exactly what that mix is in this case.
On her
So,
income statement, well, she provided an income statement with wages or contracted amounts paid, or is that a requirement of the business plan when they are putting it together?
well,
is
in
it?
this case, if she had historical, which, it's not a startup, we would have looked at her income statement and tax returns depending upon the age of the business. So we would have looked at that and been able to see what her labor was as a percentage of revenue.
Was she
So,
a Schedule C, or was she what was she, an LLC? What was she? Do you know?
I would have to go look at the file to see if she was
Oh,
filing
okay.
Schedule C. But if she's a single member LLC, she probably was a Schedule CD, to be honest with you, most likely. But I'd have to go look at the file on that in that regard. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for claim 15? Do we have a motion to approve or deny?
I'd like to make the motion, Mr. Chairman, to
Thank you,
approve.
Dee. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Any opposed? Toggling between multiple tabs, so thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, great. I'm gonna stop sharing here. So now we've got a little bit more time. So if folks are wanting to discuss the kind of meeting cadence and structure, then we can move into that. And John, yes, I see your hand is up.
You're muted, John. You're muted.
Sorry, I'm so out of touch with the Zoom meetings these days. Go ahead, Rachel. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was going to comment on the structure.
Oh, great. Well,
Go ahead.
we're just transitioning. You got it.
Okay, so I got 4 points that I'll put to the committee and we can go from there. So regarding meetings, I feel like we should move to face-to-face meetings and not Zoom, because I think we get way more done in a face-to-face than over Zoom. Maybe if that's not amenable to everybody, we move to maybe every other month or quarterly, some structure where we regularly meet face-to-face. I think we'll accomplish far more. That's first point. Second point, I'm a little concerned that the subcommittee becomes the committee, because I feel like we're just going to be discussing what the committee would discuss and the same people are going to be involved. So I think it just becomes a committee meeting. I don't know how we shrink the size of the meeting to create a subcommittee, if you like. I don't know. I'm in favor of it. Don't get me wrong. I want more engagement, more involvement. I feel like we don't have enough information. So I'm in favor of a subcommittee. I don't know how that works mechanically. I think it just becomes a committee meeting. So maybe we just have to meet more regularly, which I'm fine with too. Third point, Dee's hammered this point since I've been in the committee, that we basically a rubber stamp, and it's frustrating that we approve these write-offs, but I'm always in a position like, well, what else are we supposed to do? That's what our role is here, but it just feels like all we're doing is rubber stamp. We got some people who've joined a committee to rubber stamp, giving people money. It's like we're not really actually contributing much in that regard. So I get a little bit concerned that we're just a rubber stamp, and so that goes to having better input. But I am conscious of Mason's point earlier that we don't want to be the people who are so in the weeds like Mountain BizWorks and get involved in the approval of the loan, and because we know all the facts. But we got to find the right balance. We don't have the right balance today. Last point is I don't know from this conversation whether the Mountain BizWorks is lending again, whether the program's open again, or whether it's still closed. So I'm still confused about, are we still closed for business and we just meet occasionally to write off loans, or are we going to get to a point where we're approving new loans? So I'm sorry I rambled, but those are my 4 main points.
Thank you, John. Rachel?
You're muted, Rachel.
Ding dang. had to do it at least one time. John, to your point about or question around the subcommittee turning into the main committee, I kind of share that question. And so I think if you all decide to set that up, having like an express goal project, something can kind of help curb that a little bit. So, you know, the example of formatting or visualizing the data in a certain way that isn't, you know, maybe getting into Mountain BizWorks business of processing the data, but doing it in a way that the committee can kind of digest a little bit better is a little bit more discrete of a task. So that's just an example, but I think those strategies from other other commissions that I've seen has helped to kind of keep the subcommittee from turning into the main one and vice versa.
Thank you, Rachel. Evie?
Thank you, Carl. So I think to the point about in-person meetings, John and I saw Dee nodding vigorously. I think that staff have been of the same mind, and if that is where the committee wants to head, we're more than supportive of making that change based off of input from Mountain BizWorks. I think it'll make it easier for them to share information too, which will be achieving one of the goals that I think I've heard today. On your point about Mountain BizWorks, that's also a question we have is what does it look like to resume lending, particularly given what we recapped earlier from that last September 2024 meeting where we made changes to the underwriting guidelines that requires approval from the committee. But I think that there's a few changes that we should discuss and navigate. And so I think that's one is where do we move forward with lending, but also is the committee interested in looking to accept new funds, and should we be prospecting opportunities to get more money into the pot? Also, returning to the question of, are we looking for new lenders as well? Because that will change the shape of reporting. We've only had one lender to date, and that's, if that's of interest, that'll be something that we need to keep in consideration when we're talking about reporting is how do we make that adjustment as well? And I think on the note of doing in-person meetings, maybe we can structure time to workshop out those ideas and have that be the focus of a meeting, in addition to taking care of regular business. But those are all changes that I think I see ahead and what staff have been discussing. And I think they're all good things that we can look forward to. But I agree, in person would make that all a little bit easier to digest and talk about next steps. So I just wanted to name, I think that there's a bigger picture conversation to be had, and I'm definitely in support of doing it in person.
Thank you. As am I. I think the improved transparency, I think, is what everybody's after. And I did want to speak to Mason's point. All of us, Dee, John, and I all sort of came on about the same time. And we all went through the same iteration of, we don't want to just be a rubber stamp, but we also can't make informed decisions. And so as time has gone on, we've become more and more interested in the data, the backstory, the loan criteria, asset value of these deals. And as time has gone on, we've also seen, we went along for a very long time with very little delinquency. And then it sort of shot up, and now we find ourselves over the threshold. Well, there's certainly reasons for that. And I know that Mountain BizWorks is no less affected than we are, but quite the contrary, much more so. And so I do think we're at a place in this committee where we could standardize a lot of these perennial problems. And so I would propose that we do a reporting subcommittee, and that, John, if you'd be willing, that you chair that committee, working with Mountain BizWorks, but also to set up a standard reporting document so that if and when we bring on additional lenders, that they have a format to follow. And before we consider a vote for that, I would like to also say, Dee, you had raised a question about, are we going to bring on other lenders? Well, we have many queued up, 3 or 4 that I've spoke with that sort of went into stasis because of the rewrite of the operating agreement. And that took a very long time to sort of meet language that would stand up to current scrutiny around what we do. And I believe we have successfully crossed that threshold. We do have additional lenders that are interested, and we do need a new custodian for the fund. And one of those could be that custodian. So I think that we are in a new and better place of acceleration. I do feel like we're never going to get out. If we do nothing, if we continue doing what we're doing, we will only have our percentage delinquent go up. We need additional funds. We need additional lending. And we need great partners like Mountain BizWorks to continue to move forward. And so, is there any discussion on all of that? If not, I would move to make a subcommittee vote. Mason.
I did want to, I guess, add my support for the recommendation and the direction this conversation is going. I know a part of this process that I have not experienced is the approval of the guarantee. And that's, I think, a gap, but it does very much feel like we're at a point where better data can drive better process overall. And I think it deserves focus in an area of that conversation that can build out more for us.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to second that motion. Has there been a motion made to,
Nope, we need a
adopt your
motion to
recommendation?
create a subcommittee.
I'll second that motion, or I'll make the motion, whichever one.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I guess I'll second my own committee as you've nominated me.
All in favor of forming the committee? Any opposed? And I so move that we place John as the chairman of the subcommittee. Do I have a second?
Can you
Um,
record me as voting in favor?
Oh,
We got you, Frank.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman, to appoint.
All in
John.
favor? Raise your hand, John. Any opposed? So carried. And Christopher, we all want you to know that we absolutely get how hard you guys work at this, and that it is a different reporting structure than what you guys use, and it is make work. It is more work, and I'm very confident that we can come to some simplified process for everybody. So, yes, we have a hand raised. I can't see who it is.
Yeah, my name is Lucius Wilson. I'm
Oh, hi,
the
Lucius.
current director of the Catalyst program here at Mountain BizWorks.
Nice.
And I just speaking to introduce myself and also to state that I am very passionate about the goals of this committee and open to whatever feedback it takes to get to where we want to get to. And I think that it's important, as well as the numbers, because I'm a huge numbers guy and I love them, is to make sure that the strategy is what we want it to be, or not me, like what is wanted. Because I do think that there is a mix between who you can help and the risk that's involved. And just I think it would be important to really think about that through. And that to help the most people, it is going to require more risk. But I also think that with more risk, there should be more structure in that and how that risk is as allocated. So I like I said, welcome any feedback, but just put that out there that guidelines and guardrails as we navigate these seas are important.
Thank you, Lucius. Welcome aboard. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Dee?
Thank you and welcome, Lucius. I would
Thank you.
say that I wholeheartedly agree with what you said. And the only way from an actuarial standpoint to have risk mitigation is through techniques like app data collection, but technical assistance, if we have to triage it, and you know the word triage, I would want to see that. But those are things that will act to mitigate risk, because you've got various factors with BIPOC populations that we are assigned to. So I'm happy to help in any way that I can, but I know from having worked for the Minority Business Development Agency that there are techniques and tactics that can be used to mitigate. So welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you, Dia. Dia has raised for a long time, has raised a really good point about, because of the nature of these lenders, do we need to accelerate our mitigation and support, particularly technical support? Do they need more? And if they need more, can we help facilitate that? And maybe through Catalyst is a great way to do that.
And if we have to come together, put together a triage team, those of us who are willing, I think it would be a good thing. And I'll cease. Thank you.
Thanks, Dee. Frank?
So I want to clarify something, because, you know, I had a little hesitancy, and then I said, record me as a yes on that last subcommittee vote. And part of my hesitancy is we just had a training yesterday, which probably didn't absorb really well into my own brain. And that is, if the subcommittee is a quorum of this group, it is open meetings apply. It will have to be noticed. And if it's not a quorum, y'all can get together and work on stuff without having to notice that meeting. And, you know, I'm wondering if I just made a mistake, is what I'm trying to say.
Heard, yes.
You know, it sounds like there's some work that needs to be done. And I agree that work needs to be done. But if we have a quorum of this committee that is meeting, it will have to be noticed. It will have to be in a public meeting. It will have to be accessible. And, you know, I think I'm very confident in John leading a discussion to talk about how we improve this reporting, but I'm not sure we need a subcommittee to do that. I mean, I think we can work on these things as long as we don't have a quorum. So, I mean, I think I want to get some clarity of who would be involved in working on this beyond John.
I think, John, that would be for you to determine.
That's right.
But Frank's making a very good point. You know, this public versus private notion, and that it has been, the public nature of this has been a hindrance. We've never had a public member attend, but all of the information is published publicly. And so it may, to Frank's point, it may be that we work to improve some of our operations and simply install them, as opposed to making it a public event, if I'm reading that right.
What constitutes, and pardon me for speaking out of turn here, but what constitutes a quorum with this group? How many people? Because I would love to be in the background and not be a member of it, but we'll supply information if needed. So that's all I have.
Rachel, how many are we? 5?
So until Hunter's seat is filled, it's 4.
Okay.
So you would need 3 now, and then once the county assigns a new at-large member, then it would go up to 4. And that's for voting members. So that would not include or interact with any non-voting member from like Mountain BizWorks or another lender or something like that. So it could be John
Okay.
plus 2 other folks.
Thank you. Lucius?
Yeah, I agree that doing the work, and I do think it's important to present it publicly. So I think whatever happens in whatever meeting, I think it's important that it eventually is open to the public. But I think direct strategies on what can be results driven is important in these discussions. And certainly I can talk to Matt and figure out what it's good for me to share. But I think it's important as we go through these to understand the landscape of what businesses are out there. Yes, I do think that there's some businesses are struggling, but I also think that there's businesses that are starting, that are potentially vibrant. And so I think having a full discussion on what's possible, even if it's not direct clients, would be helpful in seeing the landscape of what would be helpful.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good point. And I think the idea of, being open or not to the public is in no way a desire to withhold information from the public. The problem for us is that it limits our ability to understand what we're agreeing to. We don't have the information because it has to be anonymized for the public meeting. And I think that's where we're all struggling. And this has evolved over time. It's only become more of an issue, not less so. Rachel.
Thank you. Just for the action minutes and for the record, we don't need an official vote. Can I just confirm that we're going to have less than a quorum for the subcommittee? So that would be currently 3 and then ultimately 4 once the
3 voting members.
correct.
So we can have others on the committee.
Great.
Do we have to have a motion on that or not?
I don't think we need an official motion for that. I'm just hearing, and this, is will be recorded on YouTube, so I've got that. Just wanted to, if I put it in the action minutes, then it's there for the record as well.
I would actually feel more comfortable getting it recorded as a vote personally.
Up to you all.
That work. I mean, because we're
What's
talking
your
about a work
motion?
group who's going to work through some detail, and I just want to confirm that we are not going to have a quorum meeting and conducting business. That we're working through some issues without a quorum.
Okay.
I would make that motion. If you open the floor, I'll move that we do have less than a quorum for the subcommittee. Thanks.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, so carried. Thank you. And John, you decide what you need there. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. I can also speak to some folks at Mountain BizWorks. Christopher's the right guy to have at this meeting. I do think the bigger picture for me is with the intention of additional lenders. One of the things that some of the additional lenders said to me early on was, I don't know that I can meet your reporting deal. And the other problem that we have perpetually sort of danced around is the amount of time it takes to get approval from the committee. So sometimes these loans need to move quickly. And we have, again, discussed the idea of having online meetings solely for the purpose of approval of new loans that are moving quickly. And I think that's also something we should consider in our structure. Because if they're going to come on and they're going to participate, we need to be responsive. All right. Any other unfinished business, new business?
Well, so I'm fine managing this going forward. I understand what I need to do and what I don't want to get into. So, but I want to circle back to the face-to-face because I do feel like we should just set a date for face-to-face. Seems like we've got an enormous agenda to cover in a face-to-face meeting. We could present the new data framework in that meeting. But I don't want to skip past the fact because all these critical items just seem to sit on the burner and never get resolved. So can we, I don't know if we need a motion for a face-to-face. Can we just could somebody take action to find a date and create an agenda?
We do, because we voted to be online. So hold that thought. Rachel?
was going to offer about the, timing and the flexibility. And so just reviewed my handbook. If we provide at least 48 hours notice, ideally a little bit more time than that, then we can hold a specially scheduled meeting, whether that be virtual or in person. So if there's a need, perhaps a good logistical tactic would be to hold some kind of date and time for us or something like that. Just if it's Friday mornings, we could kind of keep our calendars a little clearer. But in terms of noticing it and holding the meeting, we just need 48 hours notice to provide to the clerk's office to have it noticed. So just wanted to offer that as you all are considering the needs around frequency.
Thank you. If we move to in-person next month, is there a facility that can host us, city or county?
Yep, we can. I can find a room here, and then if there's no availability, which usually Fridays are fine, I can work with EB and Mason to check the county facilities.
And would we do a hybrid meeting, or would in-person be required?
So best practice from the city standpoint is if there are facilities to be able to stream and broadcast the meeting in that way, then that's our general direction that we provide for boards and commissions. The minimum requirements are that if you meet in person, you've got enough room to accommodate the public. And I think given our meeting, if we've got some room for the public to join, that would be sufficient. So we have had, last year, feels a really long time ago, we had a meeting at Mountain BizWorks. It was sort of like a workshop, half day type of meeting. And that was enough room to accommodate the public.
Okay, I can inquire about that. But you could find a space. If we are a hybrid, does that change the nature of public status? Meaning, are we then still a public meeting if we're streaming?
So we would always be considered a public meeting if we're meeting with a quorum and we're taking action in this way. This is, I'm sorry, in the weeds, but because we're meeting virtually, to be public, we have to broadcast it because there's no way for the public to join a virtual meeting otherwise.
Okay.
When you meet in person, because it is noticed and someone could physically go there and show up, that accommodates the public element. Our communications department recommends as best practice if there is the ability to broadcast a meeting through, technology setup, which we have here, that we do broadcast that meeting. And Frank, chime in if there's anything else you want to add from training.
No, you paid attention better than I did yesterday. No, she's 100% right.
What? Were you awake, Frank?
I was there. She was sitting right behind me.
All right. Well, then I will make a motion to meet in person beginning November, the first Friday in November. And if we can find, secure, and communicate that location, we will do so. Do I have a second?
I'm so sorry. Just to clarify before you all vote, is this a one-off, or are we making a motion to have our monthly meetings in person?
In person, monthly, going forward.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so I have a clarification. If we do that, will we be offering the hybrid option? If a voting member is not available in person, will we be able to participate? Because I anticipate being able to attend in person probably 80-90% of the time, but those rare occasions where I'm working remotely or something comes up, if I'd like to be able to participate, if at all possible, remotely.
We have a hybrid capability at City Hall.
Right. So if we have it there, we should be able to do it hybrid.
Okay.
Is there a way, Mr. Chairman, to amend that motion? I'd like to offer a friendly amendment, if I may, for a hybrid meeting.
You may.
In person, but with a hybrid meeting. I would like to make that motion that we meet in person with the capabilities of having a hybrid meeting that is virtual for
Thank you,
people who
Dee.
can't attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? I'm gonna have to wear pants. There you go.
Whoa,
Uh,
No, I
Any
feel like
opposed?
I didn't understand. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Say what, Mason?
Now we're talking about pants. It feels like I didn't understand the full context.
We need to redo the vote. Answer required.
Oh, we need to redo the vote?
I'm just to
Okay,
clarify
okay,
that,
good.
that
All
being
right,
fully
uh,
dressed is the requirement.
Is there any other business, old, new? I just want to say that, I'm very impressed that, John D. and I have had multiple outs and haven't taken them. We want to participate in this. It matters to us. This is good work. The representatives from Mountain BizWorks, the city and the county have been exceptional across the board. And people that cycle off like Nikki Reed, we're sad to see him go, but the new blood is helpful. And I really do think that this is precious, valuable work. And I want to continue it. I want to grow the fund. I want more lenders. I want more support for small business in our community. And anything that we can do to be better at it is our only goal. So thank you all for attending today. And we're getting out 9 minutes early.
We have to do a quick check for public comment. Megan?
There is no public comment.
Okay, great. And then we will need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Our last business item.
So
Mr.
moved.
Chairman, I'll second.
All in favor? Don't say I didn't get you out of here early. Whoop, whoop. Have a good day. Thanks,
Thank you,
Christopher.
everybody.